Hello and welcome to the last tackle inside England. All three of England's teams have reached at least the semi-finals. The women and the wheelchair have still got one more group game to go. Now I'm delighted to be joined by Mike Cooper and very much part of the media for this World Cup is Carl Amor. Gents, thanks for coming. Mike, first of all, how's things?
Great. Obviously so excited to be heading out to London in the semi-final and keeping the momentum. So it's been an amazing camp. It's my first World Cup and just loved every minute.
How is camp?
It's great. It's intense. We're getting well looked after, but we're working really hard. And I can honestly say I've been in and out of the England squad for the last 10 years, and this is the closest and tightest group I've ever seen, from players to staff. Where everyone's getting on, and but the main thing is we're putting the work in, and I think we're sort of seeing the fruits of our labour now.
It seems to have a bit of a club feel, is that right?
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, being here at the club that I play at is we have world-class facilities. We're certainly making the most of that. So, training days have been tough, but we're doing plenty of recovery, and we're doing the cryotherapy and the swimming and massages and all that sort of stuff that you normally get at club level, but just sort of times 10, at international.
Coops, just from outside the camp, obviously, you've mentioned that you've been around 10 years now in and out of international. This, for me, feels like the most workmanlike team that I've seen in an England performance. Is that something you'd agree with there?
Yeah, 100%. And as you know yourself, successful teams are built on effort areas.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at the other nations in this World Cup, I'd hang my hat on and say that our intensity, our 1% efforts have been pretty good so far, and I think that's been the big contributing factor as to why we've managed to put the scores that we have on and defend so well.
That intensity you spoke about, well, Mark, that was pretty evident, wasn't it, in the first 30 minutes of that game?
Have you seen a better 30 minutes?
No, and I think if they replicate that again and they keep doing that over the next two games, they win the World Cup. For me, it's as simple as that, because I've not seen a performance like that from any side for a long time, if ever. So you guys must have felt really pleased about how you started that game, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And being on the sideline and watching the lads just fly off the line speed, intent and everything that we're doing, the aggression. And there was a lot of talk. A lot of people were writing us off before this World Cup, and people are eating the words a little bit now from what they've seen from us. I can understand that, but. All it's done is add more sort of fuel to the fire for us, and but we haven't done anything yet. We're at a semi-final, and there's no point me sitting here and saying we're going to do this, or this. We've got to go on and keep building, play well, and see where we're at next week.
Brilliant.
Mike, what was it like to be part of Saturday then?
Amazing. Again, there was a lot of talk about P&G, about how hard they run and how physical they are, and all those sorts of things, and. We were dominant for most parts of that game, and as I think everyone said, that first sort of 40 minutes is pretty much as good as it gets from a rugby league. From a technical point of view, you don't really get much better than that, and statistically we didn't have to do a great deal of defence. Look at our tackle count compared to previous weeks. Lads are sort of making 17, 18 tackles compared to 30, 40 as you would normally do, or 50, 60 for some guys. So that just shows you how dominant we were, and against a really aggressive, tough P&G team.
Is that, Coops, I suppose, is that maybe a little concern that a lot of people were talking about that Samoa game, you dismantled them completely. This was the P&G game, was the next game where you get that intensity. I think your intensity then therefore took theirs well away, and the game was over at half time. Is that a concern going into a semi-final? You saw Tonga and Samoa, the intensity of that game.
What a game that was.
Yes, it'll take them a little bit longer to recover from that, but they've got that game under the belt, haven't they, that intensity game? Is that anything that's perhaps thought about?
No, not really, because I think if people watch the game back, so even back end of the second half, line speed was still the same as it was in the first minute. Yeah. And we can only deal with what we've got in front of us, and the scoreline was the scoreline, and don't forget the pressure on each individual to keep playing well far outweighs what the opposition are putting us under pressure. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
I'm trying to keep me play. So is everybody else in that team, and anybody who's in this 24-man squad could play, in a semi or a World Cup final. Yeah. So the pressure is on us individually, not really what the.
I think that's a great way of looking at it, isn't it? It's something I certainly haven't thought about. But the fact that there is so many good players outside of that 17 who could easily, put up a case for playing against you know, the semi-finalist or world finalist, then I think that's awesome, that really.
Well, let's hear from your gaffer after that victory in the quarter-final.
Sean, plenty to pick through the performance, but ultimately you're in the hat for the last 4. You must be pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, overall the score was really good. I'm happy to get into the semi-finals. Rugby was crap in the second half, but I'm not going to let that deflect from the. If I'd have had that scoreline this morning, I'd have been very happy.
You've got that first half now in particular. You probably feel like you played some of the best rugby you've played in this tournament. Did you tell the boys about starting fast and making sure you got on top of this team early? Yeah,
we've challenged ourselves at our starts, and I think I started middles today with Tom Burgess, Victor Randall, Mickey Mack, Chris Hill, outstanding I thought today. So I'm happy with it where we started games. I didn't like the farm before half time, but you know, we'll look at getting better this weekend. We'll need to get better. Tonga Samoa, we're going at it tomorrow, and we're going to meet a very determined team next week where we need to improve.
You've had pretty much everything thrown at you today. A physical team, awful conditions. Are you pleased with the way that your team knuckles down and does the tough stuff?
Yeah, I am, and that's one of the main things. I'm really happy with the way we get on with our business, and we're not flashy, we don't overplay, we just get on with playing nice and straight and short, and we do some really, really good things, so I'm really happy.
Well, congratulations, Sean.
Thanks, Lewis. Thank you.
Sean Wayne talking to Lewis there. Right, what's he like to work with?
He's just a great guy, you know, genuine, cares about players, cares about you as an individual and your families. Most importantly, he's, you know, from the moment that he took on this job, he was absolutely adamant that we would go on and do something special, and he said that from, you know, over 2 years ago now when he first got the job. So you know, he's a great guy. He understands, he just gets rugby league players. He knows when to put the pressure on in training, but also when to take the foot off the gas and have a laugh. And all the staff here have been amazing. They couldn't do any more if they possibly tried. And
he's obviously very demanding now, isn't he?
He is, you know, but it's clarity. What you know,
is that what the players want now?
Yeah, 100%. What you don't want is, you know, 5,000 things to do and 5,000 bits of information. You want a simple job, and you know, all the most successful teams and business in the world, you have a simple task and you do it well and you keep doing it and you get better. So
I think
that's what we're trying to do.
I think that's a great point. You know, at this level, these guys are all super talented individuals. They just need a little bit of clarity around what's needed from them, and obviously to raise that intensity when it's needed. So, you know, it doesn't surprise you there really with someone like Sean Wayne, proven winner, isn't he? You know, how to motivate these guys. And, you know, if they get to a World Cup final, you know, last time when England got to a World Cup final, they were under Wayne Bennett. Now, I know he's a great coach, but you talk about someone who genuinely cares about this country, and I think it would be awesome to be in that dressing room under a guy like that for sure in a final.
Yeah, is it awesome?
Yeah, it's an amazing. The national anthem, you know, the way we've been playing, and then back in the sheds when we're doing the team song and chilling out and having some time together, all time with your families. It's kind of every time we get to go home, and we're not going to get to go home now when we're in camp solid. You know,
not going home to what, week Sunday hopefully.
Well, if we win it, we'll
going
go home for about a month. We'll go home for a long time. But when you do get home and it starts to sink in what you're actually involved in, and it's quite hard, as you'll know, once you're in the bubble of it all, you don't really realise what's going on in the actual game. You know what I mean? So, but it's just great to be with a bunch
Sean
of lads.
clearly demands that you do things right on and off the pitch.
Yep.
Like, tell us about what did you do yesterday?
We went to the make sure I say this right, the Arbitorium.
Yeah.
And spent some time.
It's a big week. It's Remembrance Week.
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. It's on Friday, isn't it? And you know, we went up there yesterday and had a walk around, had a presentation. And had a chat about sacrifices we're making compared to what others have made for us to be here. And when you look at it like that, there's no comparison to what we're doing to what anyone that's you know, given their life, you know, fighting for our country and our freedom. So it was great to be there. It's the first time I've ever been. All the boys enjoyed it, and you know, more time just to stop and think and put things into perspective.
Was it quite humbling as a group?
Yeah, definitely. And there's a few ex-military guys working within in the staff as well who you know, we all have a chat to and speak about their experiences. And again, you know, we're living our dream here, aren't we? You know, we're not sacrificing anything compared to them, and us being away from your partner and your kids for a couple of weeks is nothing compared to going on a tour for 6 months to Afghanistan
Coops, you spoke about them sacrifices, mate. I just want to ask you, what would it mean to Mike Cooper to win this World Cup?
It'd mean everything, and you know what? I had a bit of time when I got the call said I was being picked, and I didn't tell anyone this. I drove to the old rugby field where I used to train as a kid. It's the first time I've been back since we left that house at 14, 15. I just had a minute just to stop and think, and this is where I was then, and this is what I'm going to be involved in. Coming up. So I think as you get older, you realise, it sort of hits home a little bit more of what you're actually involved in, and this is everything that we work for, and we want to put our name in the history books, and to do it here in our own country would be just being amazing.
And just before we let you go, obviously you played Samoa before. This is going to be a different Samoa this Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they'll be talking a lot about revenge. We were pretty dominant in that game physically, and I'm sure they'll be fired up and try and put it on us. But we'll be ready as well. We've got more gears yet. We'll be fired up. We'll be ready to go, and we'll meet them head on. And
do you feel like you're part of something special? We've got record viewing figures for Rugby League World Cup. The wheelchair game is fantastic. We've got the women doing very well there in this semi-final. Do you lot feel you're part of something special?
Yeah, the PDRL team won the World Cup, didn't they? So I think we're across the three that still play now. We're 8 from 8, aren't we? Across wheelchair, women's, and the men's side. So keep momentum, and ultimately, us winning a World Cup is a trophy, but it's about getting another 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old picking up a ball, and going right and want to play rugby league. That's ultimately what we'll leave, not the trophy.
Like you did in Warrington, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not about the trophies, it's about that, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and then, the next 2-3 years' time, World Cup, there might be another kid who drives back to the field, what Mike spoke about, at 13 and 14-year-old, and taking it all in, and hopefully deliver another World Cup, because I think you guys are on the cusp of something really special, I really do, and I wish you all the best, pal.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
All the best,
Cheers.
mate. Right,
Pleasure.
Carl, you don't go anywhere. Right, we're going to go inside the women's camp now and join Jodie Cunningham and Tara Jones.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Yes, ahead already.
You can shoot.
Yeah.
The best thing about being in camp is you're basically a child for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Someone tells you what to wear, where to be, what you're eating, and makes it all for you and puts it in front of you. Literally. And does all your washing for you, yeah. Washing, so just bring it down in a bag, we'll bring it back washed. And although, to be fair, my grandma does that for me anyway, so I feel like this room's pretty important as well, isn't it? Like this is, it's supposed to be players only room in it, so we can be do whatever we want in here. And we've got like the pool table, we've got colouring books, which have been really popular, haven't they? Everyone's been colouring,
everyone likes colouring,
chilling out. I think what's been really good, I just don't think there's been a bad performance from anyone in this squad. So we've all played, everyone's took the field, which is what we wanted, and everyone's had really good performance, which is, it's brilliant that everyone's on form just at the right time for a World Cup. Oh, you're messing. Not at form with pool, obviously.
I feel like before coming into camp, the build-up that we did have, the staff got it really well, they got it good, and I don't think having a warm-up game, I don't think it was a be-all and end-all for us.
I don't think so.
What we've done within ourselves has done us good. So
yeah.
I feel like obviously the kids getting on board and stuff, it just brought a big buzz to the stadium, and we loved that, and we strived off it. Obviously, because it was school trips, there's children there that are getting the opportunity to go that maybe would never get that chance again in their lives. So it was just mega, and hopefully we can inspire some of them, because now they've watched it for themselves, and hopefully they'll be then watching us on TV and things like that, and if they get the opportunity in school now, they might be like, oh well, that's what we went to, so we'll give it a go.
We get really pushed by the staff here, which is brilliant, but at times it's really hard when you're knackered and you've done a full week's work and you've got to go training after work and all that sort of stuff. It is tough, but it'll be worth it 10 times over if we manage to lift that trophy, and we've put ourselves in the best position to do it. I don't think there's any more we could have done as a group of players and staff, so we're dreaming about it, but hopefully we're going to get to live it in a week's time.
Oh, I've set you up here. Oh no, not quite.
I won't say that's an easy shot.
Not quite. I thought it was going to settle.
I'm going to mess it up.
Pressure's on.
I don't like long shots. No! Oh. Come on.
Yes.
Right, okay. Well, can't deny that one, can I?
Jode. 3. Well done, well done.
So England's final group game is against Papua New Guinea at Headingley on Wednesday night, and Lindsay Burrow and Rob handed the shirts out on Monday night. What a nice touch that was.
Yeah, you know, you talk about trying to inspire you and give you motivation for, you know, for wearing an England shirt. Well, it doesn't come, you know, much bigger than that at the moment. You know, Rob and his family, obviously the struggles they're going through. We heard from Mike Cooper earlier about sacrifice and, you know, of people giving their lives. And, you know, what Rob and his family are going through is almost unimaginable for most. And the fact that he's able to take himself there as well, and his family, and hand those girls them shirts was really, really nice to see. And I know all the girls really appreciated that as well. And you know, what a better way to go out and thinking about Rob before you're going into a game and really taking it to them, because of course Rob played many times for Great Britain and England as well. So you know, I just thought he was brilliant.
Yeah, good luck to the women against Papua New Guinea. The final group game, and then it'll be a semi-final on Monday night. Right then, you've been across the wheelchair, the men's game. I tell you what I love about this World Cup, because obviously the Football World Cup's starting a week Sunday, but this World Cup, we've got the women's game alongside, and we've got the wheelchair game, and the wheelchair game is just a revelation, isn't it?
Well, it is. Look, it's something, Mark, I've been a part of for a couple of years, and I remember, you know, the first couple of times I was doing it in at Saints, and I was telling the boys about how good it was. And for me, the next level for viewers at home is get yourself to a game, because the noises you hear it's like nothing you've heard. You know, you can see the brutality, the physicality on telly, but when you get to one of these games live, it almost takes it up a notch again as well. And the speed that they play at is incredible. I done a piece with James Dayton from BBC Yorkshire, and I was talking to him about how, you know, actually being a part of the media team on it and commentating on the game, it's pretty easy because it takes care of itself. It literally is one end to the other. So many tries scored as well in a game, and I think it's got real potential, mate. You know, I think that the World Cup, the England-Australia game, you know, Twitter almost blew up off the back of it. You know, it was
I was listening to you at home and I went on Twitter and my whole feed was just about wheelchair rugby,
brilliant.
which is brilliant.
You know, it's amazing, isn't it? And it's really got an opportunity to gather momentum and hopefully off the back of this World Cup, keep momentum going and try and grow that sport as well, because, you know, we've said it for ages now, it is the most inclusive and diverse sport on the planet. So, you know, the fact that anybody can play this game, you know, anybody at all, makes it such an amazing sport and spectacle to be a part of. And you know, I just love the stories of the players and how their journey and what it was like for them growing up, and how you know, some of them, the guys that were bound to a chair, had to watch PE lessons, had to watch the community game, and now they've got this platform. It's even making me think talking about
No,
it.
but you've really immersed yourself in it, haven't you?
Yeah, because they've got
you're not just rocking up and doing a co-commentary, you've really immersed yourself in it.
No, absolutely, because I think it's such a great sport, and the players are so good. You know, they've been brilliant with me and helping me out as well, and you know, they've all got a tremendous story that needs to be heard. You know, it needs to somehow be heard, all these stories, because, you know, there's so many. We talk about Rob and the inspiration there, well, there's inspiration in these guys as well. And you know, I just think it's amazing sport, and you know, I'm loving the fact that so many people are loving it as well, because, you know, I fell in love with it about 2.5 years ago.
How good was Jack Brown on Thursday night against Australia?
Well, look, I'd never seen Jack Brown play, and you know, the guys were telling me that I think Leeds Rhinos and Halifax, I think they played each other a total of 4 times last year. And the England camp, they got together possibly maybe end of July, early August, and this was the only time that Jack Brown came over, and he played in one of those 4 games against him. Now, in those 4 games, in 3 of those games, there was only 1 try that separated the Rhinos and Halifax, maybe even 8 points actually, Mark. But Jack Brown played and they won by 30. So I'm like, wow, I've got to see this kid play. I've really got to see him. And boy, did we get treated to that on Friday night. You know, he was amazing. You know, anyone one-on-one, and swivel of the hips gone. You know, he was brilliant, and he was the player of the match in that game, and you can see why. He's a Golden Boot winner, a superstar, and potentially the man who's going to end up taking England all the way.
on Sunday against Spain. We had Tommy Makinson, of course, on Saturday getting an historic 5 tries. And then Rob Hawkins got 5 tries for the England wheelchair team on Sunday.
Well, Rob Hawkins has been labelled as Jack Brown understudy, by many people in the game. And
he had a cracking game in the grand final, didn't he?
He sure did. I think he 4 or 5 tries in that as well, and the player of the match to go with it. So, these guys, these are the ones that are going to create momentum. Coops talked about how World Cups are about leaving legacy, inspiring people to then take up a sport, whether it be rugby league, whether it be young girls playing for the women's stuff, or whether it be anybody wanting to get into a wheelchair and play that game. So, I just think it's so far, we've got best part of a week and a half, 2 weeks to go. This tournament's been a huge thumbs up for me, and long may that continue.
Yeah, record viewing figures. Look, we've been talking about the World Cup for a long time because it got delayed for a year, but we kept saying it's going to be the most inclusive World Cup ever, and it's proved that. Because I've got friends now, not just watching the men's game, but looking forward to a wheelchair game, and they're watching the women's as well.
Brilliant.
And as Mike said, the PDRL.
Yeah,
England won that.
They won the World Cup, didn't they? At Warrington a couple of Sundays ago, I think it was. But yeah, we talked about, we've mentioned this in the past before, that delay in the year for the World Cup has almost been the biggest thing that could happen to it, really. I think that that delay in the World Cup has allowed more momentum to gather, more infrastructure put in place, more preparation for these teams that, let's be honest, the wheelchair and the women's, they didn't really get an awful lot of funding. You're only talking 2 years ago, and now the players are all being paid the same wage, they're all in the same kit, and they're all striving towards the same goal, which is hopefully 4 out of 4 world titles. That would be incredible. That would be the cherry on the cake.
I mean, we're very proud at Betfred to be the official partner of England. And I know when Fred was approached, he said he didn't just want to do the men's team, he wanted to do the women's and the wheelchair as well.
Brilliant. You talk about that umbrella, that brand of rugby league and England rugby league. Well, Betfred, certainly sits at the very top of that. And it's been amazing what Fred's been able to do, not only for these teams, but for everybody within the game.
Right, before we finish, Carl, obviously you've won grand finals, you've had a great career, but, are you loving this media side? I saw you on the pitch before Tonga, Samoa, co-commentator on the wheelchair.
Yeah. No, it's been amazing. Look, over the last few years of a lot of hard work gone into it, and thankfully now I'm getting a lot of opportunities to work, and ultimately, look, I love the game, and my time and my race is pretty much almost ran, isn't it? In that sense, I have joined the Widnes Vikings, and I will be giving that my best tilt, but probably my best days are behind me, really. And if I can impact and help this sport in any shape or any form, then if that's through me sort of talking up these players and talking up the game across all of those competitions that we spoke about, well, that's something I'm going to pour every single ounce of energy into I can, because the game has given me so many great opportunities, and it keeps doing so as well. So I'm just a huge fan of it all, Mark.
And the best advert at the moment is we're inside England camp, and we've got the 3 of the teams are in the semis, at least for semis.
Absolutely.
And we heard Mike there. I just get the feeling this England team is going to go all the way.
Oh, look, I've just been blown away. I admitted it there in front of Matt. I was one of those that came on the show a couple of weeks back, and when we were talking about all the injuries that England had had, I was thinking the Saints players, Lomax, Walmsley, Percival, big characters in the team. I was thinking, is it going to be very difficult? But looking at all those teams, for me, that England team looks the most workmanlike. The forwards are ripping in and giving a platform. George Williams seems like a different player from last season. We all know the qualities he's had. He just needed to be in a side that was willing to do the ugly, tough stuff for him. Jack Welsby, well, just find him out there and he'll come up with something. Sam Tompkins looks like he's found a new league.
Callum Watkins is playing so well.
He's been incredible at
your mate Tommy Makinson, record 5 tries.
We've now got these
Dom Young.
We've got all the exciting, vibrant players playing at their absolute peak at the minute. The challenge is can they keep that peak for 2 more weeks?
Well, let's hope so. Right, you've been watching the last tackle inside England. We'll be back next week when hopefully we'll be building up to the men in the final, the wheelchair team in the final, and the women's in the final as well. See you next week.